I currently live and work in Padang City, West Sumatra province, Indonesia. I work at a university as a lecturer, and I would say, in addition to being an academia, I'm also a scholar and activist. So, disability academic, scholar and activist, and disability advocacy cuts across each of these areas, and disability is really, I would say, central to my work. Well, yeah, I mean, I've been working in disability sector for quite some time, particularly being a disability advocate in Indonesia. So it was as early as 2012. Yeah, I mean, when I returned to Indonesia after the completion of my master's degree in Australia, and then I was sort of like motivated to make changes, yeah, to empower my fellow people with disability, so that they could also have great access to education, and they could also be aware of their rights that are fully guaranteed by laws, yeah, not only by international law, but also our local law, our national and local laws in Indonesia actually are guaranteeing the rights of people with disability. I would say my first time overseas trip to Australia to do my master's degree back in 2010 completely changed my way of perceiving and understanding disability. So before I went to Australia, I thought that disability was only about impairment. Yeah, I mean, I never had any idea about disability activism at all. I only think about myself. I only think that education is important for me to have a better life, to have a decent work. Yeah, so that's why I decided to pursue my master's degree overseas. Yeah, I mean, to Australia, and having experienced the freedom of mobility in Australia with accessible public infrastructure and cutting edge assistive technology that really suits my needs, then I realized that, well, actually, disability has more to do with barriers. And then during my master's study, I also attended several disability conferences and learned a lot about the importance of the disability rights movement. And I realized that, well, I should not only think about myself, but I should help motivate other people with disabilities in Indonesia and in my city to achieve their dreams, yeah, and realize their potential. So since then, I had done a lot of disability rights advocacy work, yeah, at both local and national levels. And 3 years after my return to Indonesia, after doing quite a lot of advocacy work, I decided to undertake my PhD, yeah, back to Australia, because I believe that as a disability rights activist, my activism will have more and a greater impact, yeah, with all knowledge and experience I would gain during my PhD journey. So I returned to Australia to do my PhD. So, but to me, undertaking a PhD is not only about completing your PhD project at a given time, but it's also I would say an invaluable opportunity for me to further learn firsthand from disability activists in Australia. And the 4 year journey also afforded me opportunities here to expand networking with Australian DPOs. I think the best challenges for me as a disability activist in Indonesia is about changing the paradigm. What I mean here is changing the government officials' perspective in understanding disability. We keep telling them, yeah, I and my colleagues, of course, through my organization, we keep telling them that disability should be seen as a cross-cutting issue, that disability is not only about social welfare, and of course social welfare is important for people with disability to to improve their life, to recompense for their extra cost of living with disability. But it doesn't mean that other areas such as education, access to health services, access to disability-friendly infrastructure is also very important, yeah, and also access to employment. So these areas have yet to receive proper attention from the government. That's why we keep bringing these issues to them. It is very important. Okay, it's good now that you have a disability local law. That's really good, yeah. But then what you need to do is to implement the law. And then I encourage the city government to, to develop, yeah, a kind of disability action plan to put the local law into action. Now, I have been involved in developing that disability action plan, both at the city level as well as at the provincial level. And I think this disability action plan is very crucial. This is very important as a kind of guideline, yeah, for all local governments in my province to mainstream disability into all their programs. So what we want is that disability budgeting, disability budget is not only concentrated under the Department of Social Welfare. Other departments should also allocate the budgets, yeah, for the needs of people with disability. And then, yeah, I've been grateful, yeah, that for the last 2 years, yeah, after the completion of my PhD successfully, I ended up, yeah, following this path, yeah, in influencing the local government policies in Padang City and also in West Sumatra City. And I also have been doing more work, yeah, in empowering grassroots disabled people in my city with knowledge in disability inclusion and meaningful participation, yeah, as well as the importance of community research, yeah, to strengthen advocacy work. So, for example, I think a really important work that I have done together with my colleagues at my disability organization in my city is that we strengthen the capacity of grassroots people with disability, especially those living in the villages, yeah, to participate in their village development planning. So we train them how to do public speaking. We train them how to navigate the government local development planning and the systems, how they can take part in those processes. And we've done that. And last year, I and my colleagues were really happy. Yeah, this is the first time happened in Padang City for the government to invite grassroots people with disability in their local development planning processes. And I think this is something that really makes me and my colleagues feel very happy, and all the hard work that we have done is really worth it.